Hello guys, and welcome back. In today's video, I decided to take a break from the usual breakdowns and analysis to share with you 10 Easter eggs that I'm sure you didn't catch. Trust me, more than 99% of people didn't spot all of these hidden clues on their first watch. If you're a true Squid Game fan, stay until the end of this video and let me know in the comments how many you actually noticed. Let's start this list with something easy, one that most of you probably did catch. But do you actually know the meaning behind it? I saw this question pop up a lot in the comments, so with this video, I also wanted to respond to some of the most frequently asked ones. One of the most common questions about last season is about the drawings on the wall and what they really represent. The letters on the wall form a Latin phrase, Hodi mihi kras tibi, meaning, today it is my turn, tomorrow it will be yours. This phrase reflects the fragility of life, especially in the brutal world of Squid Game. It's a reminder of life's fleeting nature and the inevitability of death, suggesting that what happens to one person today could happen to another tomorrow. You might survive today's deadly game, but there's no guarantee you'll make it through the next. This phrase is often found on tombstones as a memento mori, a reminder of mortality. Now regarding the people painted on the wall, they aren't players on monkey bars. It's actually a visual metaphor for people hanging on the fragile thread of life. Some have lost the battle and are shown falling. Those are the ones for whom today was their turn to die. Meanwhile, the ones still holding onto the line are the survivors, the ones representing tomorrow it will be yours. Nothing is guaranteed in the Squid Game world. Moving on, remember player 96, the player who almost ended Squid Game right there in the 5th game if it weren't for Guihan? For most of you, it might have come as a surprise that he's the same player who says the infamous line from the teaser, "I'm playing the game." But did you know we actually saw this player before? Player 96 is the one Daeho recruited as the final member for their team in the 6-legged race. However, he was replaced by Jun-hee after she asked the group for help and revealed she was pregnant. Don't feel bad if you didn't recognize him at first glance. There's a major difference between Season 2 and Season 3. In Season 2, he seemed like a goofy, harmless character, while in Season 3, he turned into a megalomaniac player who pushed others to their deaths and was ready to end the competition on the spot. Maybe it was the hairstyle change that gave him that sudden boost in confidence and evil. Who knows? Next on this list is one of the most beautiful and emotional details. After Hyun-ju dies and Guihans approaches her, the first thing Guihans does is brush Hyun-ju's hair behind her ear, revealing her earring. While this may seem like a small, simple gesture, it holds deep emotional meaning. Hyun-ju was always seen with her hair covering her ears. In one conversation with Guihans, we learn why. Hyun-ju was proud of her earrings and loved them dearly, but due to societal pressure and the toxic backlash she faced after her operation, she chose to hide them. She once said her dream was to go to Thailand, where she could proudly wear her earrings without shame or judgment. That's why Guihan's gesture is so sweet and tender. Sadly, Hyun-ju died during the 4th game and never got the chance to fulfill her dream. But by brushing her hair behind her ear, Guihans helped make that dream come true. At least in death, Hyun-ju could be seen for who she was, beautiful and unashamed of her choices. I don't know about you, but that small gesture hit me hard, especially considering Guihan's decision in the next episode. For the next spot, I'm not sure if this was just another translation issue from Netflix English subtitles team, or if it was actually meant to be this way, but in the dialogue between Guihan and Jun-hee before the 5th game, something caught my attention. While Jun-hee tries to justify her decision not to get an abortion, Guihan shares his experience as a father, saying that watching his daughter grow up was the happiest period of his life. But here's the interesting part. Guihan says, "I had a daughter, not I have a daughter." Maybe I'm overanalyzing this, but the fact that he speaks in the past tense could symbolize that he doesn't believe he'll survive until the end, and that he's already accepted he might never be reunited with her again. Speaking of Guihan's survival, did you catch this in the first episode of Season 3? When the guard enters the dorm and Guihan lashes out at him, He grabs the guard's arm and, in that moment, actually pulls the trigger. Nothing happens because the safety was on. But just imagine, if the safety wasn't engaged, Guihan would have died right there on the spot. I think this moment was beautifully crafted. It shows the sheer desperation Guihan is experiencing. The man is looking for any way out, even death. He can't bear the weight of his guilt anymore. But unfortunately for him, he's forced to live with it, at least for one more game. Now, the next hidden detail is one of the most interesting pieces of foreshadowing I've seen, and I have to thank the people who pointed this out in the comments under my foreshadowing video. Remember the hide-and-seek game when the shaman lady entered a door and then quickly came running back through it, looking panicked, while her followers stood around confused? Apparently, the so-called safe door wasn't safe at all. That's the very door Namgyu and Myunggi came through, slaughtering all her followers. Here's where it gets really fascinating. Hyun-ju dies in the exact same way later in the episode. She finds the exit door, but realizes she needs all 3 key types to open it. So she goes back into the maze to find the missing keys. There, she meets player 100, who has the other 2 keys, and the shaman lady leads him to the door. After they successfully unlock it, player 100 pushes Seon-yo away and snatches one of the keys from the door, locking it behind him. She's left to die, just like her followers were, pushed away from the exit they thought would save them. But the twisted irony doesn't stop there. Seon-yo dies like her followers did, and then player 100 dies just like she did. In the second round of the final game, player 100 is pushed off the platform by Myunggi, a death that eerily mirrors how player 100 pushed player 44 away from the door. It's poetic justice, a twisted loop of karma, where everyone meets the same fate they once inflicted on others. As for the next detail, I won't blame you if you missed this one, because honestly, I would have too if it weren't for some of my Korean Discord members pointing it out. There's actually a file labeled Blacklist Players. Just let that sink in. In a deadly game where almost anything is permitted, there are still people banned from entering. If that doesn't spark your curiosity, I don't know what will. Let me know in the comments. What do you think those players did to get blacklisted from a life or death competition? For the next detail, we find ourselves at the final fight of the show, a scene that directly mirrors the final fight from season 1, but with the roles reversed. After Myunggi picks up the knife and begins attacking, Guihan takes off his jacket and wraps it around his fist to defend himself and parry the knife strikes. This is the exact same strategy Song-woo used during his final confrontation with Guihan back in season 1. It's a beautiful callback, one that mirrors and reverses the dynamic from that original showdown. And I know I might get some hate for saying this, but honestly, Myunggi resembles Song-woo more than any other player from season 2. So having the final battle between Guihan and Myunggi feels like an inverse parallel to the ending of season 1. The next detail is a stunning piece of visual storytelling. During the hide-and-seek game, Namgyu talks about the light fading from people's eyes when they die, and how they end up with doll-like eyes. In the finale, after Guihan's selfless sacrifice, we're shown a close-up shot of his eye, and it contains an important detail. That shot was there to emphasize one thing: the spark still visible in Guihan's eyes. He didn't have the doll eyes that Namgyu described, the lifeless gaze of those who were killed. No, this doesn't mean Guihan is alive. Sadly, for those still holding on to that theory, it's time to let it go. But what this shot represents is something equally beautiful. That spark in Guihan's eye symbolizes that he was still barely alive when he saw the explosion take place. In his final moments, Guihan achieved his greatest goal, watching that horrific place burn to ashes. Even though he died, he succeeded. The game is over, and that was always what he truly wanted. And for our final hidden detail, we return once again to Guihan, this time during the Last Supper. As the guards allow the players to begin eating, most of them start devouring the food immediately, but not Guihan. He pauses, he waits. The beautiful detail here is that Guihan only starts eating after he sees the baby being fed. That's when he picks up his own utensils. Meanwhile, Myung-gi, who is the baby's actual father, doesn't care at all. He starts eating right away, just like everyone else. I found this moment extraordinary in how subtly it shows us the priorities of these two characters. Guihan, despite everything he's been through, still puts the baby's well-being first. Myung-gi, on the other hand, is so far gone that even his own daughter doesn't register in his mind. This could even serve as foreshadowing for his later willingness to sacrifice the baby for his own gain. So that concludes our list of 10 of the most difficult details to catch in the Season 3 finale. Let me know in the comments, how many of these did you actually spot? And be honest, because I'll admit, I didn't catch all of them either. It wasn't until my second rewatch that most of these started to stand out.